There we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's tips from Autumn and Rose. We're going to talk about two very important things. And Autumn, why don't you go first?
All right. Well, I wanted to talk briefly about retirement accounts. People mostly hear from their parents or grandparents that you should always max out your retirement accounts, put everything you can away into your 401k if you have one at work or whatever. And the answer is you should probably do that up to your employer amount. But if you have something on the horizon that you might need the money for, you don't want to lock it away. So if you're going to buy a house soon, if you're going to have a kid that needs to go to private school, all sorts of things come up. So, if you're not sure, you can put it into a savings account for a little while and then transfer it before the end of the year usually, or else, withhold more. But a different generation thinks is the best way to do with their money because they're in a different place than you and they're in a different era and the whole world is different. So just be a little skeptical.
That's really great. It's sort of like you can't just take those things for granted. What worked then doesn't necessarily work for us these days. It's really great, Autumn. Which actually ties right into what I was going to talk about, which is you have to make sure in business that you trust yourself. We're not all experts at everything. For example, Autumn is definitely more of an expert in financial planning and all of that than I am. However, if something isn't right, even if Autumn says it would be best, as an example, to invest in a particular company, but I don't like that company, I've got to actually be able to be responsible for and proud of and stand behind my decisions and choices, whether they're good ones or bad ones. There's, the smartest business people, they get advice of experts, and then they make their own decisions based on the expert advice, but also on what they believe and what their own moral and integrity says about what's right and what's true. Either way, as the business owner, you're going to have to live with the decisions you make. So you make sure that they're ones you can actually live with. And most of us can trust ourselves for much farther than we think that we can. A lot of times we get deer in the headlights and we just freeze and say, I can't make a decision here because I don't know. Whereas if you thought through it and you took the time to really contemplate that decision you're making and you Googled it and you hired experts, and you would be able to make a fairly informed decision that most of the time turns out pretty great. So my tip for the day is make sure you trust yourself. So trust yourself, and this isn't your daddy's retirement.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm really in favor of people understanding their investments and knowing what it is that they're standing behind and not just handing it all over and saying, oh, someone else has to think about it. Not my problem. Because something, what if that person drops dead? What if? There's lots of ways. You should be in charge a little bit.
That's really great. So that's our combined tip, is make sure you're in charge. It's your money. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, cool.
All right.
Anything else, Autumn?
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.